The Fed15 podcast is presented by Serving Those Who Serve, a fiduciary, fee-based financial planning firm serving federal government employees and retirees all over the country. This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not intended to be taken as financial advice. All listeners should consult their personal advisors before taking any action. The opinions expressed by our host are their own and do not reflect the views, policies, or position of Raymond James. Securities are offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services are offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors, Inc. Serving Those Who Serve is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services, Inc. And now, here are your hosts. Dan Sipe serves as a branch manager for Raymond James Financial Services and Serving Those Who Serve, and Katelyn Murray is a financial advisor through Raymond James Financial Services and Director of Advisory Services here at Serving Those Who Serve.
Welcome, everyone, to the Fed15 podcast, presented by Serving Those Who Serve. Each week, as you know, if you're a regular, we will discuss the latest news and info the Feds need to know in 15 minutes-ish or less. Sometimes I run over. So whether you're a seasoned federal employee or just starting out in your career, Fed15 has you covered. So grab your coffee, kick back, and we will tell you what you need to know but may have missed. I am your host, Dan Sipe, and I am joined by a very new and special guest host. I'm joined by the amazing Chelsea English. Chelsea, welcome.
Hey, Dan. I'm happy to be here.
That's awesome. Chelsea is one of the many rock stars, and I do mean rock stars, that I keep expecting Paul Stanley, to come in like that one commercial. That we have at Serving Those Who Serve, and really excited to have her joining us today. And Chelsea, by way of introduction, folks know that Katelyn is very involved in theater and the arts, so she's kind of my artsy co-host, but always says, that she's not a big sports fan, things like that. You, conversely, are pretty big in yelling, "Go Blue," and "Get 'em Goat." So tell us a little bit about that.
That's right. Yes. I hail from Michigan. Grew up there, went to school at the University of Michigan. So, of course, I'm a big Michigan fan. Go Blue, as you said. It's been a great year to be a Michigan football fan in particular.
A little bit.
Coming off, a Rose Bowl win and then the national championship win. So that was incredible. I got to actually go to the Rose Bowl, which was just, felt like a once in a lifetime experience. It was great. And then, Fear the Goat, the United States Naval Academy just down the road from me. My husband, Nick, is an instructor there, and we both have a little bit of a Navy background. So we were midshipmen ourselves, not at the academy, but in ROTC. And so being here in Annapolis feels really special to us, and we love cheering for the midshipmen and Fear the Goat, as you said.
Absolutely. And I don't think I've shared this with the audience. I have a tie to the Naval Academy because I was want to be clear about that, struggling high school wrestler. Okay. I did it. And at the end, by the time I was a senior, I managed to win more than I lost. However, one of the things that started an upward trajectory for me were the wrestling camps at the Naval Academy. And the one thing that was just amazing about that for me is, I've frequently joked and said that wrestling is an eating disorder with a fight attached, because you're always trying to get skinny, and it's always at Thanksgiving and Christmas and everything like that. So here we were at the Naval Academy for this wrestling camp, and the food is incredible.
Wow.
It is absolutely incredible, and tons of it. So it was like, wow. This must be what heaven is for a wrestler. So you get to wrestle and you get to eat. So that was an amazing experience. I don't know if you've experienced the great cuisine over there, but I certainly did.
Can't say that King Hall is known for its good food, but maybe they pull out all the stops for the athletic camps. I've heard incredible things about the various athletic camps that they run there. So I've no doubt it was top notch.
Yeah. Or it is also possible that the wrestlers are always so food deprived.
Yeah. No matter what you were getting, it was heaven, as you said.
That everything seems great. So we're all TSP all the time on this one. I'll be talking about the TSP contribution match. There's a couple of nuances there that the folks, you might learn a little something. And then Chelsea, you'll be taking us through the monthly recap for performance, correct?
That's right. Yep.
All right. Well, let's jump in. You know, if you're watching this, you're probably a Fed. You know you have TSP. You know you have a match. But there's a couple of wrinkles to it. Some of this is going to be me going, down the nerd rabbit hole, which I like to do. So for starters, we all kind of know you put in 5, you get 5. That's technically correct. Well, you're getting a 1% no matter what. That goes in no matter what. And then the next dollars that you put in, your next 3% get matched dollar for dollar, and the next 2% get matched 50 cents on the dollar. So that rounds you out. Remember, the 1% was already in there, so that you're up to your 5 getting 5. Okay. So you got to put in 5% to get the full match. However, here's the thing. You need to make sure that you've got a contribution in every pay period. And the reason I say that is I still, and Chelsea, you've probably encountered it too, we still run into some people every now and again that are maxing the TSP out, and they're doing it earlier than the final couple of paychecks. And people like that because they go, oh, yay, I get a raise at Christmas time. Where's the problem? You won't necessarily get the full match. So when you go to our website, STWServe.com, and check out Benefits Ben's article, he's got some great examples in there. So, for example, I'll hit these really quick. If employee A, so we're talking about a Fed with a $55,000 annual salary, and they contribute $2,500. So if employee A contributes $96.15 every pay period all the way through, gets the full government match. Okay. But if employee B is an eager beaver and contributes $300 for the first 8 pay periods and then stops and then throws in $100 at the end, you would think they're going to get the same match. Oh, no. Employee B only got $1,019. So that's bad. Most of the time, I think Feds are going to run into this when they're factoring their contributions for the year. So make sure that you do these calculations because you'll know the numbers in advance. Do these in December so you're ready to go in January. So one of the things we always like to do is be the source for you to get the information easily. So 2024 contribution limit, base level is 23,000. Catch up is another 7,500. So if you're wanting to if you are not yet old enough for the catch up, you want to make sure that you've been putting in $884.61 per paycheck. So this would be a good time to double check that. And if you are going for the catch up, you want to make sure that it's $1,173.07 in there. Now, if you round up to 8, that's not going to cost you. Okay. So you do have the ability to do that. And just a couple of final interesting little wrinkles here. Since 2020, auto enrollment for new hires increased from 3% to 5%. Huge fan here, except please don't think that 5% is a max. It's the max to get the match. If you want to adjust upward, always adjust upward, you can go on tsp.gov and log in and do that. If for some reason, don't do this, but if for some reason you wanted to do this, but don't do this, Feds who want a refund of the automatic contributions can make a request within 90 days of hire. Don't do that. Feds who quit within 90 days and have a TSP balance of at least 200 or more can request a refund of their contributions. If you're not here at least 3 years, you're not walking away with the matching money. So those are kind of the rules and regs there. So Chelsea, tell us how TSP did last month.
Yeah. All right. Quick TSP recap for the month of February, which brought mostly good news. So for a little bit of context, let's look at the last couple months leading up to February. We obviously experienced that significant rally at the end of 2023, which was followed by a bit of a cooling off period in January. And as Katelyn mentioned in the last TSP recap for January, that's pretty much expected for that time of year as far as natural market cycles go. Think about people, they're dialing it back at the beginning of the year after the holiday season. So after that less than stellar performance in January, February did show some notable turnaround and brought decent growth in all of the TSP funds with the exception of the F fund. And we'll get to that in a minute. And this balancing act continues, attempting to reduce inflation without causing a recession. That rally at the end of 2023 was partly fueled by expectations of impending interest rate cuts. But despite the Fed signaling a reluctance to lower interest rates in the near future, we are still seeing resilience in the stock market. Now, as we dig into fund performance specifics, I just want to throw out, keep in mind that we're only 2 months into the year. So for any year-to-date figures, they represent only a brief glimpse into the financial landscape. With that, let's dig in. So starting with C Fund for February, a return of 5.34%. And C Fund actually has the highest year-to-date return of 7.1%. Next, the S Fund, the small cap fund, led the TSP returns this month with a 6.03% return, bouncing back from last month's negative 2.44% return. And we're looking at a year-to-date figure there of 3.48%. Next, the I Fund for February, 2.74%, and a year-to-date number of 2.51%. Next, the F Fund. Again, F Fund was the only fund down this month, likely due to rising interest rates after a period of stability. Bonds typically have, this inverse relationship with interest rates, meaning that as rates rise, bond prices and consequently the performance of bond funds like the F Fund tend to fall. So for February, it was down negative 1.41% with an overall year-to-date return of negative 1.6%. And then lastly, wrapping it up with G Fund, it held steady from the previous month. So for February, 0.33% compared to January's 0.34%. So we're looking there at a year-to-date return of 0.67%. And I just want to throw out there, remember that markets move according to what's predicted to happen in the future, whereas the Fed is looking back at past data when making interest rate decisions. So this is why it's important to stay disciplined with a good investment strategy. And we say to clients all the time, it's not about timing the market, it's all about time in the market. So while keeping up to date with fund performance is valuable, it's crucial to maintain that long-term outlook on retirement savings because this journey to financial security and retirement is a marathon, not a sprint.
Well, I like that.
So yeah, I thought you would like that. I know you're a track and field guy. So
yeah, I like that. Now, great points, Chelsea. And so I guess I'm not supposed to pull all my money that I did have in the F Fund and throw it over into C because of what just happened. Or better yet, S had a good month. So
right. Yeah. Regardless of, performance in any one fund, we want to remember you don't want to throw everything all in one place because of what that's looking like. And, diversification is always the way. So that's absolutely important to keep in mind.
Outstanding.
Yeah. So, if you have any questions about how to best allocate your TSP or any other TSP questions in general, you can always reach out to us at askstws@stwserve.com, schedule a complimentary meeting with us, or you can check out our next TSP webinar on Thursday, April 11th at 1 p.m.
Good plan.
All right. Yeah, so that's all the time we have for today, folks, but we will be back next week to bring you all the latest updates you need to make informed decisions about your career and financial well-being as a Fed.
And be sure to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button here on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify, be sure to do so you never miss an episode. And please remember to share this with your friends and colleagues and even an enemy here and there. Extend the olive branch.
Absolutely. For more information on the topics covered in today's show and more, be sure to check out our blog at blog.stwserve.com and subscribe to our newsletter, The Weekly Serving, to get all the latest news for Feds delivered straight to your inbox every week.
Absolutely. And Chelsea, if it's okay, I'll add to your recommendation about checking out our TSP webinars. We've got another couple of good ones coming up that'll be there by the time folks are watching this. Estate planning on March 28th. That's from 1 until 4. We're the only ones doing this, folks. Don't sleep on it. It's a great webinar. And then our first webinar on April 2nd from 11 till 2. A lot of people do first webinars, so we'll give it that. They're just not as good as Ed, but they do them. And one of the things you'll notice is that we're matching in black because we're really close to sorting this budget thing out. But heard a couple of things this week from some folks that kind of want to scuttle a deal. Don't scuttle a deal. Don't do that. Okay. Go do something else. Let the deal happen. Pass the budget and get back to the business of running the country. Thank you.
That's right. All right. Thanks for listening to the Fed15. I'm Chelsea English.
And I'm Dan Sipe.
And we'll see you
next week.